This is the Mack G Show.
Welcome to episode 20 of the Mack G Show.
20.
It's an important number. We're not going to go into too much detail. I want to get to our guest because I think there's a lot we can talk about. Before we go there, though, I feel compelled to let you guys know that I, for the first time today, I did red light therapy.
Ooh.
Had you ever heard of it?
I have not.
Rich, you had, right?
I have, yeah.
And you said that you have a reliable source that says it
Reliable
works.
healthcare source that swears by it.
I hope it's true. Supposedly helps your collagen and mental state, maybe?
Makes you look younger. It's already working.
Is that the deal? Yeah.
He's 73.
I'm 73,
And,
but I show well. So I went today. It was 15 minutes. I decided to sign up for a month. We'll see if it works.
so you go in and there's a red light on?
You go, it's a table, and on the top, there's all these little lights that shoot down, and yeah, you turn it on. And
Do you wear goggles?
they give you goggles. They don't want you staring at it.
No.
Never
don't
look
stare
right
at
into
it.
the light.
Yeah. But I feel like if it's going to help my collagen, I want it to help my eyelids. So I just close my eyes.
Okay.
And then halfway through it beeps and you can turn over. The problem is they didn't have, like when you get a massage, they have the thing for your head so that you can lie down on your belly, and they didn't have any of that. So I felt like my head was like pressed and it wasn't good. I brought it up. I don't think they're going to change it. And then there was a sauna. I did a 40-minute sauna.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'll keep everyone posted if I feel better, if I feel younger, but it felt pretty good today.
Okay.
All right?
You got it.
You got anything?
You know, I wasn't going to, but I am going to say this because
Yes.
I think this comes out on or close to my wife's birthday.
Oh.
So I just want to say happy birthday, Jen.
When is it? What day of the week?
March 5th.
Which is a...
I think it's a Wednesday. I think we come out on
Okay,
Thursday.
that's fine.
But I just want to say happy birthday. I think so. Jen and I met in 1991. Wow. So it's been a long time. And
I was there. Happy birthday, Jim.
yes, happy birthday. And like I'm a lucky guy.
Oh, don't get all sad.
I'm not getting sappy, but I'm just
Okay.
telling you, I feel lucky every day. I love you. Happy
That is
birthday.
great. That is great. Now I'm going to somehow get in trouble with my wife.
Why are you going to bring it to you?
I don't know. But congratulations. I mean, happy birthday.
You got
to
it.
Jen. All right. Let's get to our guest. Okay?
My man.
Our guest today is Rich Raymond, President and CEO of Armstrong Ambulance, overseeing emergency and non-emergency medical transport for over 50,000 calls a year. He started as an EMT in 1992, became a paramedic in 1995, and moved into full-time administration in 2007. He also serves on multiple boards, including the American Ambulance Association and the Massachusetts Ambulance Association. A proud East Boston native, Rich took the scenic route through college, finally earning his business degree from Endicott, with his wife and 4 kids cheering him on. He's been happily married for 22 years, has 3 daughters, a son, and a gigantic St. Bernard puppy. And, most importantly, he's one of Ricky G's best childhood friends. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rich Raymond.
Woo, thanks.
Welcome.
What's up, Richie
Hey,
Raymond?
thank you.
I feel like you guys should just talk, right?
We have been talking. We've been doing a show for the last hour and 45 minutes.
We're going to need a 5-part series.
We
Yes.
might.
No
we
doubt.
might.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to talk about. Okay. I want to maybe tease it up a little bit, right? We're going to talk about you growing up in East Boston.
Sure.
Your days at Dom Savio, which
Yeah.
I believe is when you met Ricky, right? Journey into EMS,
Yeah.
that whole thing. And then, which I think, can't wait for this part 2, which is you sharing your experience as a first responder in the largest workplace shooting in Massachusetts history. So we're going to cover that later in the, I guess I'll call it a broadcast. Right?
Sure.
I keep forgetting we're YouTube and audio.
We're a show.
We are, but I'll say, you're watching us, but you're also listening to us.
Right.
Okay, so a lot to talk about. I think we'll start up with growing up in East Boston. So
No,
what
East
was that?
Boston was great. I would move back tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah, I loved the city. Loved the busy, the noise, all of that.
Is it still like that?
Saratoga
Yeah,
Street.
yeah, Saratoga. Yeah, it's all the same.
It is?
Yeah.
Because sometimes
It's
things
actually
get-
more congested now because I drive through.
Oh, yeah,
a
it's
lot.
definitely more
It's more
congested.
congested, man.
But yeah, no, I mean, back
Yeah.
in the 70s, it was great. The main streets were wonderful. And, I tell my kids today, you remember my street, but running rooftop to rooftop, we would hop and hop and hop.
Really?
Yeah, it was cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it's like tight knit community. Everything's right near you. Your friends are right there.
Yeah, we lived in a one level, right? Multi-floor. one level between the 6 of us, one bathroom. If it was 1,000 square feet for 6 of us, it was a lot,
Wow.
right? And then
Yeah.
if somebody was in the bathroom, I don't know how descriptive we want to get, but I'm like,
Yeah, we'll try.
We would-
we can always buzz it out, I think.
my grandmother lived several doors up. My aunt and uncle lived a couple doors down. Everybody
about
lived in the neighborhood.
What about the Love Shack?
We had the Love Shack in the back, but no, that was late. That was way late.
Oh, so that was added later
Yeah.
on?
Are we going
But-
into detail
Yeah.
about
I
the
don't know
love
if it's-
jackets?
I don't know if we can
there
talk
was a
about
little
Love Shack.
apartment in the back that I lived in, but
Okay.
that was later in life. But as kids,
Because there's bathroom there. There was a bathroom
but
apartment.
that came late.
Okay,
But as
all right.
kids, we would run up to my grandmother's to use the bathroom, or my aunt's, whoever had an open bathroom.
That's awesome.
And that was great because I saw my cousins all the time, or my grandparents all the time. As this generation, like everybody's so far away, we don't get to see everybody.
Did you have like Sunday dinners with your family?
Every
like
Sunday.
your extended
Yeah.
family?
Every
But
Sunday.
you're saying there's not a Raymond family right now that might be experiencing that same thing in East Boston, or that's not that's not
gone.
the way
My
it
dad
is?
was the last to leave.
Wow.
Yeah, he left a couple of years ago.
Okay.
God bless him.
Yeah,
How
but-
old your dad?
88
88.
young.
Wow.
He's in Peabody. He's
Yeah.
Yep. So he's,
Okay.
But you know what the other one was? I always go back to is the cell phones is a killer too. If you remember calling your whoever, I would call my brother and my, what I would hope a nephew or a niece would pick up. I'm like, oh, hey, what's going on? What's going on? Tell me
you
about
don't
your
do
life.
that anymore.
And now it's just direct dial to my brother who's like, what do you want? Right.
Right.
So I miss out talking to my nieces or nephews because everybody's got their own phone. I think that's that to me is one of the
Yeah.
biggest problems with
Well,
cell
there's a lot.
phones.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems with cell phones,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Social media and stuff like that.
That's episode 6. That will go.
Although here we are trying to leverage the hell out of social media for
Yeah.
this, but yeah, it is tricky.
Yeah.
Was your fam? So my dad grew up on Falcon Street, which was 3 levels. Do you have other family above you? Like you were first floor?
We were the second floor.
You second floor?
First floor was always a rental that it was never family.
So you had
Not
people
till later.
above
We
you
did,
and
yeah.
people below you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. We were only 2 families.
Okay. Yeah.
So below was always a rental, but it was always a friend. It was never any randos.
Right.
So it ended up being my cousin over time, but yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, my dad grew up like that, and you have a family below you. You have 3 levels, and that's just how life was. Like you said, one bathroom.
Hopefully, you get along with that family.
My mom,
Yeah.
my
Because if
mom,
you don't, that
Yeah.
would suck.
my mom grew up on Shelby Street. Her bathroom was outside the apartment.
Yeah.
On Shelby Street. So
What do you mean?
It wasn't in her apartment. It was a shared bathroom for the 3
Floors.
floors.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
boy.
if they wanted to take a shower, you had to take a towel,
Wow.
your toothbrush, and go into the bathroom. She did not have her own bathroom. My mom didn't grow up. She didn't even have heat. I don't think. Like
What?
yeah.
Oh my
When she
God.
grew up in East
Plugged in
Boston.
heaters. Yeah.
Yeah. It
Wow.
was, they used to have to heat up bricks and put them in their bed overnight, and that was their heat. Like she shared a bed with her
Jeez.
sister.
Wow.
That's how my mom grew up.
Wow.
You know.
But imagine kids today, they complain if you don't put money on their green light account.
That's right.
I want sweet greens. I can't get one sweet greens. Right?
Yeah. So I know you've got a lot of buddies because this is one at Dom Savio.
Yeah.
Do you still have like friends from East Boston that were before high school?
No, everything was sort of predicated around Savio.
It was?
From Savio up, yeah.
Okay, that
It
was
started with me
Yeah.
and up.
Did you meet freshman year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into Savio.
Savio it was. Savio was great.
But God rest its soul, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't
Yeah.
save it.
Yeah.
They took girls in. They did whatever they could.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone could ever say like, let's turn it back on?
They should. I thought it was great. My son went to St. John's Prep for 2 years, and the mystique of bringing him there for the tour and all that was great. And it was right after COVID, and he didn't want to go, but we were like, it's probably pretty good after COVID because of all the lockdown. This is where you want to go in case they locked it down again. The prep had a better opportunity to do
It's private.
on campus. It was private, so we thought that. But he went there for 2 years, had a great academic, great sports, but he was like, I really want to go back to Swampscott.
Really?
So yeah, year 3, he was begging to go home to
And
play
he was
for
like a
Swampscott.
star soccer player
Yeah.
too. That they
And
wanted.
I'm trying to think. So I went to the prep, and there's always like a ton of Danvers kids, a ton of Peabody kids, but a fair amount of Swampscott, I would guess,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like, he
Marblehead.
knew people there. It wasn't like
His
okay.
best friends. So today, his core group of friends are all prep kids,
Wow.
but he really wanted to go back and do the big blue thing. So
Oh,
no,
save
but
some,
I loved
save some money too, though.
Yeah. But I looked at the prep like Savio. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So
loved
you
it.
love so you went to St. Mary's, which was a Catholic
Catholic
middle school.
Elementary or just middle school?
preschool up. I went Catholic school. All
So
the
you
way.
had nuns, you had like nuns, you had strict.
Oh yeah.
Like he got it from
And they could
the
beat this-
beginning.
they
up.
could
I was an altar boy.
and they
I
could
had
beat-
it all.
and they
I
could-
embraced it.
No, but they could beat the snot out of you back
They
then.
did beat the
They
stuff
hit you
from.
with the
Ruler?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It was great. It
Wow.
was. I would say it was great. And if I didn't have that, God knows where I'd be.
because
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
have that. I didn't have
Why?
that growing up when I was younger, and that's why my
I gotcha.
mom sent me
Yeah.
to Savio.
No, I had raging ADD, ADHD, and how do you stop that back in the 70s?
The
Sit
nuns.
down, shut up.
The nuns.
You know what though, and we've talked about this in the past shows, but you know, when you were that age as a child, like your parents were on the sides of the teacher.
Oh, yeah.
So like if
Yeah.
you needed to be disciplined, you were disciplined. That you came home and they were like, "What did you do?" Not like
What did you do to my son?
What did you do to my son? Like
Yeah.
it's,
Why'd you give him a bad grade?
Yeah, they allowed them to do what they want. I mean, maybe there was some abuse at that time. I mean,
No.
but the teachers had.
How big was Savio? Like, how big was a graduating class?
I bet you we had 85 kids or so.
Really?
I was telling my kids. I think our
and that's what
graduating
it
class
always was.
80.
It's not like it fluctuated. That
no,
that was it.
always tiny.
It was
Wow.
under 100 for sure. I was
Yeah.
definitely in the 80s.
My two brothers were there, older, right? They
Yeah.
went, same thing, all somewhere
Wow.
less than 100 kids.
So
yeah.
when did they? We'll get into like the fun of the school, but when did it shut down?
Oh, jeez.
Right around 2000, I think. They've been
And
gone
was it
about 20.
fighting it for a while too?
Yeah,
like
they were trying
talking about.
fundraise.
They had no
Yeah.
money. They they
There's-
just didn't get funding, and they, like I said, they took. I think they went co-ed after
Yep.
a bit, which
Well,
wasn't
so
when we were there.
I don't know how much it was when you guys went. When I went,
A couple thousand.
when I went
Yeah.
to
Maybe.
no,
That's
when
it.
I went to the prep, my last year was maybe $1,200, which is doable.
I didn't even want to tell you what I
Yeah,
paid.
28 or something.
30, 31.
Right.
What?
So
For Savio?
no,
No,
for the prep.
Oh, for the prep.
Jack's
Forget
last
it.
year was 31
Yeah,
grand.
so
I was
you're
gonna
not
say, the
you're
prep's
not
30.
you're not getting a nice cross section, economic cross section when it's 32 grand. But was
Johnny, they have
was that
seventh
what
and eighth
happened to
at the prep.
Savio though? Was it like if you guys were more inner city and all of a sudden you try to jack it up to 20,000 to survive, they might have been like F you.
Oh, yeah,
Well, you don't
yeah.
have to
No, we had
Savio
kids-
was not a school for like rich kids
No.
to go to.
No,
No.
but the
Yeah,
prep
like-
wasn't when I went there. There were rich kids
Right.
though,
Yeah,
but
it's
now
not,
you have to have
You have
money.
to, yeah.
But in doing so, the prep has a lot of money to do things.
Yeah.
Was the issue with Dom Savio? All of a sudden, they needed money, and there's no way you can go out and get
That's right.
20 grand from.
Yeah, and they didn't
right?
have the footprint that the prep has, right? The
Right, yeah.
campus, the fields.
And you're competing against BC High
Yeah.
and Malden Catholic and stuff like that, right?
But they had a good draw. They had kids from Dorchester, Southie, Charlestown.
We had good football. Like
Yeah.
we had we had Bill Marraday, who was like
the best.
he was.
well, with only 85, and that's pretty.
But
big.
I think when we were we won a Super Bowl. I think.
Yeah, 86.
We had good hockey. We had really good basketball. So we had really competitive sports for like a small school.
yeah,
you know.
the Catholic Conference, they were pretty dominated.
Yeah.
Matinon was probably better in hockey back
Sean
then.
McEachran was
Yeah.
there then.
Yeah, Donato was there.
So Pope John, same deal, right?
No, that was different.
Nah.
No, but I'm saying Pope John's not around anymore either, right?
Oh yeah.
No,
No, I'm just
gone.
saying, but that wasn't like
What was that? Stevie went there.
was
An
a-
Everett kid.
Oh.
It was fine, but it wasn't like considered a
It wasn't
sporting
Savio.
school.
It was
like
awesome.
No, I'm not talking about sports.
And my wife,
No,
God
I'm not
bless her,
talking about
listen,
sports.
My wife went to Bishop Fenwick. That was another school. I thought it was an all girls school, but I guess no, it wasn't considered like a good sport.
So- Yeah,
if
it
you want to
wasn't
go
a-
play football or you want to go play
No.
hockey, basketball, you don't
No.
go there.
So my idea, okay, this is what we thought about Bishop Fenwick. If you were a good athlete and a girl, go there.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
If you can't get into the prep as
Go
an
there.
athlete,
Yeah.
you
You
go,
go
there.
there. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, and that was the same
Yeah.
time
yeah,
as
yeah.
us.
Yeah.
But it was a good school, and again, I did not want to go there when I went.
I'll tell you,
but
you
I
weren't there,
enjoyed it.
but funny story about Savio. Well, Rick, you'll know. I mean, God, the teachers would hold us accountable and beat us up. Right?
Yeah.
I don't even know how to say it even kinder, but it was good. For me, it was good. And I was, this year, we were at Thanksgiving. We had a reunion at Carlos.
Yep.
And I was down there. Mr. Marraday was there.
Oh, he was there.
Yeah.
Is that a teacher?
man.
Yeah.
Is that a
He
teacher?
was the football, hockey coach,
He was my
biology
coach for 2 years for
coach.
hockey.
He was awesome.
Was he young when he
Yeah.
was teaching
Yeah.
you? So he's still
But
okay
He
now.
was
He-
scary, Johnny.
Just
Everybody was afraid of him.
ridiculously scary. So if you remember biology,
Yeah.
he would, whatever it was, the slap drill, right?
I got one knuckle to the
Wait,
hair.
wait.
Yeah,
Hold on.
yeah.
So the slap drill was slap, 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 slap. and he'd be louder, 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 and everybody in the class
You
has
had to do
slap
it to yourself.
hard. And he's like, I can't hear you. And you just kept slapping yourself
Is it
in the
because you
face.
did something wrong? or you
Yes,
just
of course,
did this?
yeah.
Okay. I'm saying you just, like, you
But-
don't show up and he's like, let's do the slap thing.
No, but in Savio, one's guilty, everyone's guilty.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he did that. And so I was at, and I tell my kids these stories. They're like, no way could that happen. I'm like, oh, it happened. So I saw Mr. Merritt a couple months ago, and I'm like, God, I tell my kids about the stories with you. And he's like laughing and giggling. He's like, did you tell him about the one knuckle? I'm like, I forgot about the one
he used to give me
knuckle.
the fucking one knuckle. I used to get
So
the one
tell
knuckle.
about the one knuckle.
Yeah, no, he was like, come here. You know, like he had like a deep, like raspy voice. He was a football coach. He's like, what's this? Whatever you did, if you did something wrong, he one knuckled right here.
In the
right
sternum.
Right in the sternum.
Right in the sternum.
Boom, right in the chest.
And you go down
and it hurt.
right on your knee.
Yeah, it hurt. Like boom. So that's the and again, so he actually came up to Masco a couple of years ago and helped Monaco coach.
Oh, he did.
And I saw him. I talked with him. My son played with him for a year.
Jeez.
It was awesome. It was great to see him. He remembered me. It was awesome. But
Has he softened or is he still
No.
giving the knuckle?
No. He actually went to Austin Prep and won Super Bowls there. He left Savio and went there. He's like a friggin' legend in high school football. He was awesome. But the problem was, I think,
What was he doing at Masco?
well, because Monaco was running the same system from we were in high school. But anyway, he was great. No, he was a great guy. But he was helping him out with it. But so just as a high school story, not a big deal. But that's a guy that you'd get the knuckle, the slap. He'd beat the shit out of you. So he was our, like, were we seniors?
Biology.
Our biology teacher. And we had to, our final was like you had to put a skeleton of a cat together. Right, so you had to take a cadaver,
but
dissect it.
A real cat.
I'll start a little bit.
No, you tell.
So my
story,
older brother's a chemical engineer, and we had to boil this cat and get all the meat off the bones and rebuild it. So I went home to my brother. I'm like, I don't want to boil this thing. Oh, I got a chemical. Just stick it in the chemical, and all the meat will fall off. It melted all the bones.
Right. Yeah.
You guys had to do that level of sophisticated.
We had to dissect the cat. We dissected it first.
Cut it open.
Did you have to take biology as a senior? Or you just decided to?
I just did whatever I was told. I have no idea.
Didn't we like F up the head too?
We stole another one.
Yeah, we stole.
Stole.
So he had all like the best ones from years past, like around the room.
And you just took it?
So we stole one.
And he didn't know?
Yeah, no, we just stole one.
Re-put it up together, repainted it.
together.
He never sniffed it out?
No.
I think he did.
No, we got away with it. Listen, he was the kind of guy.
He looks at yours and then looks up and there's this blank spot.
like a dusty, like there's a spot with
There's
a dust
nothing
there.
there.
Yeah, but we did because look at so I played 2 years. He was the freshman, and then he ended up coaching JV for hockey. So like, if you were his player, he might have smacked you, like, but he loved you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And like we respected him, and you know, like he was good to us. He gave you the answers to the test. Remember, like we would like the way he's like, all right, here's our test, you morons. If you get it wrong, you're an idiot. Like, so he would give us we would do the questions, do the answers, fold the paper over, and then you would just like study it. And if you couldn't pass his course, you were an idiot.
Okay. And the price to pay was just getting hit.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the deal.
If you did stuff wrong, some guys didn't do things wrong.
And they never got hit.
We tended to do.
No.
Richie was kind of a little crazy in high school. He used to like.
No.
But I mean, he was a little crazier than me.
I want to make sure that we like triangulate, right? Yeah. So as me going to a Catholic school, St. John's Prep, same deal.
Yeah.
And for me, it was Brother O'Laughlin was the guy.
Sure.
He was a French teacher. And you didn't get him freshman year, and you heard stories about him. Like, he hits you. Like, he hits you hard.
Yeah, getting hit.
But what he would do is, he'd go into the class. First of all, you had like a dress code. And if you didn't wear a collar, like...
We had to wear a tie.
Didn't you have to shave?
I had to cut my hair, shave. I had an hair.
No, didn't they give you a dirty razor one day?
That was when you were on the Yankees.
Was that you or somebody? Yeah.
That was when he was on the Yankees.
I had a beard when I was like 10.
They kept the dirty razor, and if you had facial hair, you had to go down and shave.
Oh, boy.
I thought you got caught. It might have been
Richie, I don't remember. But I mean, that probably was me.
But so again, if you didn't wear the collar, he'd like stand behind you. And what he would do is he would come up to you, he would be behind you. And then he would ask me a question. And if I got it wrong, he'd hit you. And he'd do like the slam thing into the chest or whatever. And then you would look at me like, what the fuck's going on?
So
like,
he punch you in the rib?
He would punch that kid in the rib.
Well,
right?
Makes you want to get it right then.
But I'm telling you, I learned so much in his class.
Yeah.
And like looking back, I thought he was a really good teacher.
That's right.
I loved him as a coach and as a
Mary's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, so hockey, when we were freshmen, so he had a bucket on the ice, and you thought it was pucks, and he didn't let us use pucks for a half of the year. No pucks. We just skated, and the bucket was to throw up in. So he skated you until you threw up. And that's how we started.
Sounds like a
our
movie,
freshman year
right?
of hockey.
Sounds like a movie.
You could not use pucks. And remember Galvin, like Craig Galvin, which, Rich, you probably reconnect with sometimes. I don't see him, but Richie sees him as, he was a football player and he just loved Meredith, so he was going to play hockey. He couldn't even skate.
Yeah.
But he played. And he'd put him in. He was like skating, like, you ever see like Happy Gilmore skate? That's how Galvin skated. But he did it. He did the drills. He was
nice.
in there. And, but it was fun. Like I said, it's different today. It's like, I don't know. They would consider him abusive today, but to us, we loved him. We thought he was like,
Yeah, I'm guessing if Savio was around today, and I'm guessing at the prep, they don't do that now.
no,
No.
I'm sure you couldn't white knuckle someone.
Yeah.
In the
And
chest.
do they have brothers teaching at the prep anymore?
I don't think I can't. Nah. Yeah. They do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, is it a Catholic?
Yeah.
It is. Well, Zavarian brother.
Do you have to take religion and stuff? Because
Oh,
we
yeah.
used to have to take religion. Remember, we went on a retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you gotta-
we got on a bus. And we
I'll
went
tell
on a
you
retreat.
another quick Savio. I don't know how long you're going to stay here, but freshman year religion with Father Jack, I was sitting there, and my kids all never believe this one either, but freshman religion, sitting there, we're talking about Bible and all, and I'm like, Father Jack, you're telling me one guy built a boat big enough to house two of every animal and made it around quick enough to get. No sooner did I finish that statement, he came across, open hand slap with a big ring on. I can see it like yesterday.
Jesus.
Right across the face. I almost took me out of my seat. And he's like, you're just going to believe. I'm like, got it.
Wow. Oh, Jesus. Imagine.
Well,
I didn't
mean,
like Father Jack.
You didn't like him?
He wasn't a nice
Did
guy.
you like him?
No, he was evil.
Oh yeah, he didn't like him
I
either.
remember Paul Dakin was awesome. He was the best. Like Father Gene was good. Mr. Perry.
Yeah.
Remember we saw the Challenger blow up in
class,
class
yeah.
with Mr. Sullivan.
Yeah. Solly.
There was one more quick story. So Richie's childhood was with priests. So mine, I brought Richie into my childhood. Our freshman year, we had our first mixer, our first dance. So me, him, my friend Brian Walker, was a Richie Henry,
Yep.
and John Burke, who wasn't friends with us from that day on because his parents. I think we went to a
How old's
dance.
John? Where's John Burke from?
Revere.
Oh, okay.
So he.
I know a John Burke from Watertown.
I feel like there was 4 or 5. There were 5 of us. We had 2/5 of either Jack Daniels or 150 proof shop, and we went to a dance. Like we went to the mixer.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, they didn't, I don't think we were gonna. Did they not like let us in? Like we had to like go in through the side. We had to do something.
Were
I
you
don't-
stumbling at this point?
I was
yeah.
fine. Listen, I think he and I were okay, but our friend Brian ended up so drunk that he had his clothes. He was naked. in the locker room. He was running around the butt in the locker room.
You can't really
They
make
called
that
his
work.
parents, so Father Gene was down with him in the locker room. The kid John Burke was upstairs, like right when you walk in, the beginning, like with a dance. He was like throwing up all over the couch.
Oh, it's great.
That's nice.
That was awesome.
And it was that was our first experience.
Mom,
like,
this is my new friend Ricky.
No, we didn't get. No, what sucked
We did
was
not get in
we didn't
trouble.
get in trouble.
Yeah.
But I had to see Brian. Like Brian's parents had to come and get him. They had to collect him. He was literally naked, like in the shower. Was like the dance is here. He's in the shower, naked, running around.
That was his last day at Savio.
He didn't get too far. Richie left too.
What year is that?
Freshman
88?
year.
Freshman year?
No, 84.
No, that was 84.
But freshman year.
Our freshman year.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
So Brian left after that, and then Richie left after
All
that.
right. Well, we might have to have a show that's just the Don
Oh.
Savio years.
All right.
But in the interest of a lot of other stuff to talk about,
Yeah, we have a lot to get to.
I think we were going to transition into what might be your early interest in EMS or how you got into that.
Sure. There's no particular thing. I was a product of the 70s. And if you remember the TV show Emergency,
Oh yeah.
yeah, Johnny Gage, our guy. So that was the thing. Like, and again, raging ADD and all of that. I just had to live somewhere where I couldn't work in an office. And it was either going to be construction or fire, something in that realm where I wasn't in
Did you always want to be because
You
of
had
that show,
fire in your-
fireman?
in
You
your
wanted to be a
family,
fireman.
right?
So my brother took the test, became a firefighter. I'm like, that's it. I got to take the test.
Yeah.
He's like, take the EMT to get a couple extra points. So I did that. I'm like, wait a minute. This is the same. This is what I want to do. I didn't know the difference between fire and EMS at the time. And so that was sort of my entry when I took the EMT to get a couple extra points on the fire department. I'm like,
Is this right after high school? When is this? Like, how
This
old are
is,
you?
I think I was 21 at the time.
Okay. All right.
So I worked a bunch of odd jobs in between.
He was a
'Cause
bouncer.
I had
bouncer at the Palace.
Worked at the Palace, worked bartending. But
Long live the palace.
yeah, no, there was, as you know, product of the 70s or 80s and all that. No one said, like we tell our kids today, you're going to go to college, you're going to do this, 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 this. We map it out for them. No one mapped anything, so we had to figure it out. So, but it was going to be in that first responder. I just needed that excitement to keep my mind sane.
And you're still in East Boston. That's where you're at?
No,
Or
I live in Swampscott.
Oh, Swampscott.
No. He's talking about.
Oh,
Then.
Oh, yeah. I was in East. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I was in East Boston. Yes.
Yeah.
So
That's when he lived in the Love Shack.
all right.
Okay. Keeps pushing it.
It was a little apartment on the back of our house. My dad and my brothers built because we didn't hire anybody other than ourselves to build.
Wow.
Yeah, my brothers, my dad, us, we did everything in the house. So they
You think
built
it's
that.
still around today, or
It's there.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
There you go.
I still drive by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
He had his own apartment. Yeah, you had your own apartment.
Yeah. So when you're like 20, 21, you got your own apartment. That's good living.
Yeah.
I know for a fact if I had that. Did you like video games when you were young?
No, I never got into video games.
I would have been. That's all I would have been done. My
Yeah.
eyes would have been red. I would have had no sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny. Oh God. So I had a partner. Back to what you would call the Love Shack. I call my apartment.
Is it Billy?
No, another partner, and he was from Ireland. And I just reached out to him by email a couple weeks ago, and for a question because he's in Australia. I had a question for him, and he's like, I always talk about going to your apartment because I had a surround sound system of music. Like I had this really stereo, and he's like, we never had that in Ireland. He's like, I talk about that. Our surround sound system all
You
the
made
time.
an impression on him.
Yeah. Great
That's
kid.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That must have been
Banging in there.
It was so
because it was
loud.
like a square footage.
Yeah, it was.
you know?
It was. If it was 200 square feet, it was a lot. But to me, it was like,
No, it was
Wow.
awesome. It was
Heaven.
Yeah.
your own place.
There
yeah,
you go. That's fun.
yeah. So I took the test, became an EMT.
So
And then-
EMT and then paramedic after that?
Yeah, I decided I didn't want to become a firefighter at that point.
Okay.
So then, back then, you had to work as an EMT before you could apply to be a paramedic.
What is the difference?
So EMT is the first responder, backboard, neck, C-spine, splints, that first level of care. And then the paramedic is the second level of care, which is more training, couple years, and it's narcotics, medications, electrical therapy,
So that's the next level of
Yeah.
you go to like school and like training to get to
Yeah.
paramedic. Okay.
Yeah, and you have to do internships in the hospital.
So like if you're responding to something, does the EMT always the first line, or if you're the paramedic and you're online, you can do it all?
So it depends how you run the system, right? So
Okay.
there are just primary EMT systems, and think of the whole country, middle America, everyone's different.
Yeah.
But around these parts, it's usually a paramedic is the first, is always associated with most towns in Massachusetts, no doubt.
Okay.
It could be it could be an EMT that comes to the house first, but if it's EMD correctly and you know that there's something more critical, they'll follow it up with a paramedic unit.
Is that funded by the city or town, or is it funded by a private organization? Because I know in the town of Boxford, the biggest thing that we just had is I think we now have 4 people that are actually on staff as firemen. So how does that work?
So it's really dependent upon volume, but there's, I would say 50-60% of the 911 ambulances in the state of Massachusetts are provided by private providers. So, there's plenty of private providers in and around this area. So to your point, Boxford, 4 firefighters, if they operate 1 ambulance, there's a car accident, then what, right? You got 1 ambulance. So
And 95 goes through here, so there can be bad shit.
Right. So they're always partnering, and up here, I'm guessing it's Northeast, runs a great company, Brian. But yeah, it's all about mutual aid and the likes like that. But it's
So cities won't have a paramedic on staff?
they do.
Oh, they will?
Yeah, some do. Some do. Like City of Boston runs their own.
Is it on the fire department? Or is it its own thing?
Nope. Fire department. So
Okay.
up and around here, like Topsfield, I can only speak. I think they run a paramedic unit. I don't know what Boxford does.
Okay.
But again, if they're operating 1 or 2 ambulances, there's a car accident with 3-4 patients, which is pretty common, you got to have that backup, which is where some private companies come in.
Yeah.
We're happy to provide backup, but we also are for our company, Armstrong, we provide the municipal 911 in several communities in Massachusetts.
Rich, do you
Okay.
guys leave trucks, like your ambulances, around certain locations,
Yeah.
just in case? For like,
really?
How do you pick your spot? Like,
Yeah.
all right, let's keep them centrally located here, and here.
So, there's seasonal responses, right? So where we are in Burlington, if it's during Christmas and that 128 belt is a nightmare, we'll move resources to be more ready to cover those areas.
I think back in the 80s, you always made sure that there was one by the Dom Savio dances.
That's right.
Is what I'm,
Yeah,
what
we
I'm
got a couple
thinking.
Slavic pubs. Let me ask you this though: is there like a certain response time that you want? Like this is
Yeah.
the time we need.
So
So
there's
we
a-
need to be.
there's a national-
SLAs? Do you have SLAs?
What
Well,
is
that's like
that?
in my world, it's like service level agreements. So like you promise the customer, I will get back to you in such and such.
Yeah,
a
we look
time.
at 8:59, 9 minutes. So,
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that's a national standard, and we sort of live by that. Excuse me. So it's a pretty good standard.
So
but
we had,
try to do
we had
well
a friend who
below.
had an emergency situation. It only took 47 minutes.
Well, no, there's so that if that's national, there's definitely places in Boxford. You're never going to get that. I don't
Correct.
think.
It's hard
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they don't have. I don't.
Yeah.
When people talk, I got a house in New Hampshire, Maine,
Don't
Sorry.
get sick.
and they're like, and I think about it, I'm like, no, I don't ever want a house anywhere where there's not a real
Right.
EMS system that can get me to a level 1 trauma in 20 minutes. Like I love being in and around the city of Boston.
Is there like a map of the U.S. that shows that? Like, does anyone create that map that says if you're in this area, you don't
but
have?
I'm the free. Like my daughters are in school in California. Like first things I looked at, I'm like, okay, both of their campuses have level 1 hospitals, so I don't have to worry about that. But
Wow, never would.
What
even
about like
think
that
about
medevac stuff? Because we saw like they come in with the helicopter.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
how bad does it have to be to get that? Like
it's up to the first person on scene, police or fire. They make a decision, send the helicopters.
so they know like all right, this is really bad.
Yeah.
So in Massachusetts, is it just coming out of Boston, or they have helicopters at other
So
locations? in
Boston
Mass?
MedFlight is really the system for Boston, and they operate 4 locations in Mass.
So like
Yeah.
Western Mass, they'll
All
have,
over.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can call them, but I mean, geez, we've called ambulances in Revere just to get them to Boston,
Yeah.
right? Because if they have a neck injury or a back injury, you don't want the bumpy of the ride, so you put them on a helicopter so it's a little bit more smoother.
Wow. How is the job of a paramedic when you first became a paramedic and what it is today? Is it pretty much the same, or has it changed a lot?
No, when I was a paramedic, it was there wasn't such a focus on hazmat, right? And the bloodborne pathogens and the masks and the gloves. And when I started, it was the more blood, the better. We looked cooler. And I hate to say
Just
it,
like
but
put it on your eyes
yeah,
like a
it was
football
like
player.
it was like Braveheart, right?
Braveheart.
You would look. I had a great call, and it's legit. That's how it was. It's like, oh my God, you must have had a great call. You got blood all over you, and
And then the AIDS crisis changed
then
all
the
that?
AIDS crisis came in, and that
Yeah.
sort of brought it a little bit
Sensitivity
different.
too.
Yeah.
Let's-
Ixnay on the Udlay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Blood.
blood. That was really, and then the bird flu, H1N1, and
I
lot of
wonder
training.
about like the litigious nature of our
Yeah.
society, if that changes a lot too. Like, you don't you better do it this way because they're going to sue you because you tilted their head that way. Like,
So
are you on the hook if something like, can they sue paramedics?
I've been doing this for, no paramedic that I know has ever been successfully, or EMT or dispatcher has been successfully
Was
sued.
that a personal sue or the company sue?
Company. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we, because so now I'm an administrator. Some folks will bring lawsuits all the time and they get brushed away right away because we're doing our very best, right?
Right.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, if there's gross negligence, no doubt. But any company that wants to hire a provider that's going to provide gross negligence,
and you'll know that,
yeah, you
right?
can pick that out in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
let me ask you this. So I went to I had some virus, sinus infection the other day. I went to the doctors for the first time. Usually you see like a nurse practitioner or something, and I went into Mass General and it was a paramedic.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. your
And
first-
I've never heard. That's the first time I've heard of that. So are they hiring paramedics
so
now to do that?
that's killing our industry, believe it or not.
oh,
right?
really?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's cool. If you're like,
Oh, it's cool. No doubt. It's cool. But there's not enough paramedics as it is in the state of Massachusetts.
And now they're going there because it's a lot easier.
It's easier. That's what she said to me.
And how do you compete with Mass General? They can set the standard like, oh, we're going to pay these guys 3 times what you're paying.
Right.
And it's easy.
And
right?
all they do is you come in, you look at a screen. All right, you have this symptom. Here's zithromycin and anyway.
Yeah.
And I saw the same person twice because I ended up getting a reaction to something. So I had to go again. Same paramedic.
Yeah, but no doubt, I think it's great. I love it, and I love that paramedics or EMTs can have that level, and it's nice that because it's a tough job. It's a young kid's job, right? When you're on the 93 at 2 a.m. and it's snowing out and the car's upside down and we're extricating, and are you pulling it?
We got to talk about that now. You must have some crazy.
I know, but you don't want to D2.
You have seen,
so, question about that: Jaws of Life.
Yeah.
Is that? Does your outfit own one? Or
Nope,
you
that's fire.
Oh, okay.
Fire guys will do the Jaws of Life, and we work with the extrication of taking the patient out.
And is that like a larger city or town will have one of those?
No,
or is
they
that,
all have them. That's a standard. Yeah, it's a standard.
What is it like a?
It's a hydraulic thingamajiggy.
That'll just rip the metal open.
It really
right?
just opens and whatever it does. Yeah.
They needed that for me once.
Really?
Yeah, one time.
Oh, boy.
Really?
I was with Laurie in a car. I think my driver's side seat was in the passenger seat. So
that's
came
not
in
good.
and smashed it.
Oh, wow.
You don't remember that story? And then I love my father. Dad, please don't forgive me. But my father runs in the hospital and he goes, "What happened to the car?" You don't remember? I was like,
no, but I can see your dad doing that, which is awesome.
He knew you were safe, though, right? He knew you were safe at the time.
Yeah,
He must have.
probably,
Come on,
yeah.
he must have.
Yeah, it was funny though.
Oh, that's great.
Wow. Well, so instead of, I'm sure you, I mean, of course you have a gazillion stories, and some of them are probably pretty gnarly. But like, how about think of one like you won't believe this story from your either EMS or paramedic days? Do you have any of those?
Yeah, I would say God, there's so many, but what pops right away is it was New Year's Eve years ago, and I was working in Lynn, which New Year's Eve is always fun, right? It's a great night to see craziness. But we were at a site where we got there, and a car ran over a person, like legit ran over.
Oh, like head?
No, chest. And I'm like,
okay.
oh, God.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be bad. The guy was so massive, and I mean muscle, like just strong as can be, and he was conscious.
What?
And he had the
shit.
skid mark on his chest.
Oof.
And he survived?
Survived. It was a car. It just went right over, but he had the road rash on his
Richie,
chest.
if he weren't a built person, if he was smaller, would he have
mushed.
been dead?
Yeah, mushed.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Get to your gym.
Yeah.
Richie, I remember. Was it in front of Club Morgan?
Oh, Club Morgan, that's right. Yes, no, it was not there.
We couldn't.
It was
remember
actually
that.
down
We
on
couldn't
Neptune.
remember that.
I remember the street. It was down on Neptune.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got it. So how long were you a paramedic before you ventured into the office? Like went from the front lines to
probably
the office?
10, 15 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the path typically? Like, can you be a paramedic for that long?
Oh, yeah.
Where it doesn't-
We've got guys doing it for 30 plus years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you, like, when you first started out, you're like, oh, I want to get into the office?
No,
or-
I think I was really bad at being a paramedic and really good with numbers. So they said, maybe you should go this route.
Got it.
No, kidding. I loved going like, right. So you move up. I think my favorite job was ops manager, running the day-to-day operation, responding to the craziest scenes and trying to control chaos. Again, from ADD, that's where I'm awesome, right? Not awesome, but that's where I really
But
enjoyed.
those aren't, that's still not a Monday through Friday 9 to 5 job, right?
No. So
Right?
for when you're an ops manager, it's
yeah,
24 hours a day,
it's
7 days
24
a week.
yeah,
You're running it all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy, but it was fun. I loved it. I do it tomorrow. I think it's the greatest
How
job
long
in the world.
did you do that for?
As a ops manager, probably from 97, 98, I don't know, 7 years. Yeah.
Okay. And then what do you do from that? Then what's the next move?
So then you get married and have kids and you got to make more money. So you go higher level of administration.
Got it.
And then, but my roots are down in operations and I love operations, but
Okay.
I had to, pay for St. John's Prep. And,
That's true.
Rich, didn't you so you have to get like contracts with towns?
Yeah.
Do you have to lobby
Yeah.
for laws?
Yeah.
So that you can get funding from like the state and
Yeah.
did you do that stuff
Yeah,
too?
I did a
or-
lot. That's sort of where I really enjoy too is the lobbying part of it is to say, hey, these are our services and I'm the grunt, right? I grew up in this industry. This is what I did. I worked my way up, and this is why reimbursement needs to be here. This is the true cost. And to your question, John, I happen to be good with numbers, so I can cost it out really quick and talk to people about the numbers. And that's where reality is, because so many people think, oh, why would I pay for this? My taxes pay for it. And that's not true. It's the cost of an ambulance, 24 hours a day, is about $1.2, $1.3 million.
Whoa.
So if you're in Boxford, if you're not doing that many transports to sustain 1.2 million, you're losing money.
You're losing money.
Right. So
Yeah,
that's the problem. And if you do more than 700 trips in Boxford, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So if
So
you
that's
get
like insurance pays for that,
yeah.
and then you pay a deductible, or how does that work? So if I'm taking it, if God forbid something happens right now, we're sending Johnny in.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't gonna make it.
I'm not sure why I'm the one who's going in.
Yeah.
So is it like a flat? Is it a deductible? It depends
So
what your insurance does.
I mean, this is the back end of it, right? Is everybody has different insurance.
Right.
So you were to unfortunately collapse right now,
Again, why is it always me?
right?
I feel fine. I did red light therapy today.
Damn it, I'm
He
so
did,
young.
he did do the red light. He did the
Maybe I
red light.
shouldn't have done it.
I did nothing. He did red light. It should be me. It should be me.
So Ricky boxes. He's on the floor. He's unconscious, and we're gonna call Boxford. They're gonna come. They're gonna transport him. Don't forget, he's now in the back of an ambulance going to the hospital, and now town of Boxford or the private ambulance company is paying for that service, right? So we're funding that immediately for the transport in hopes we get paid. So we take him to the hospital. If he has insurance, great. If he doesn't, we lose money.
So wait, so Boxford pays you?
No, I'm
then
saying
insurance
whatever the
payment?
ambulance company is. But for the most part, in the cities we work with, we don't charge the city because there's enough volume to sustain the ambulance.
So if that person has no insurance, you're still taking him there, and you find out he has no insurance, you're like, we're not getting anything.
Yeah, we write a couple $1,000,000 off a year.
Oof.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
And you can't just go to him and go, here's your bill.
We'd love
Well,
to.
I mean,
Yeah, but we have ethics, right? We do
so you
fair
can't
billing.
turn someone away.
No, in the 80 years Armstrong's been around, we never said no.
All right, I have another question, and this is so you so we've talked about this before, you and I. So I go to the Mass General in Boston usually, but up here they want to take you to say Beverly or Lawrence.
Yep.
Be very careful.
No,
my
and
wife works
it's
at
fine,
Beverly.
but my doctors were at Mass General, so I had a
Can you tell
major
them take
thing
me
the
in
other day.
there?
They don't want you. They want to take you because they want you in the quickest place they can get you.
Yeah.
Apparently,
But
He's
is he
like,
allowed to say that?
You can ask, and if you say it in a manner that I'm followed and my doctors want me
Right.
to be transported, maybe they'll do it. But if you're in Boxford, you have one municipal ambulance. This is the problem with the one ambulance in the community. It's like, do I want to strip that resource for the next? Because it's going to take 3 hours to get back.
Right. They don't. They did not want to go.
No.
They didn't. I
Wow.
got them to take me, but there was one time where my wife had a situation. She was pregnant, 6 months, and they took her to Beverly, and Beverly wasn't
Prepped.
prepared to handle to deliver a 6-month-old baby. So it's like,
So, but the good thing is, right?
They used to have a level 2 nursery, by the way.
right.
yeah. I'm just saying, it just
Salem
happened to
does.
be
Yeah.
at that time, and it was, it's like,
But it's important to just get to that level of care, because then whatever the assessment is, right, at Beverly, then they're going to move you from Beverly to whatever the hospital
Right,
is.
so-
And they're going to
so-
do it you'll be medicated, you'll be well cared for, and you might go by helicopter too.
So let me ask you this question. I don't even know why I'm doing this, because I'm going into questions that are, but I'm thinking about this, right? So Boxford, you said Northeast is the ambulance company. They take you to Beverly. Beverly assesses you. You're going to Mass General. It's another ambulance that
Sure
takes
is.
you there. Is it the Mass General ambulance service that
No.
takes you, or it's the Beverly one?
Beverly.
And so it would be Northeast again?
Could be, but I think Beverly uses Northeast and Beauport ambulance.
But is that-
So they'll
Is that-
decide
is that
which
like-
one is apt to go to
it's
Boston.
just, it's just they're
is
contracted.
that less of it like an emergency ambulance? That's more of a transport. Is there something different there where like you're not
Well, you
taking?
still could be in a lot of
It
trouble.
depends on
No,
patient
I'm
disposition.
saying, but I'm saying like you didn't want to take an emergency vehicle out for 3 hours because you're going to Boston. So if you're going from Beverly to there, is there like a different transport where it's
these are really tough questions. This could be episode 8, but
21.
No, but it's patient disposition, how critical they could be or would be, and what could happen between Beverly and Boston. Like, you got to prepare for that too.
I just ask because my wife makes fun of me all the time because I like demanded to go to Mass General and they did not want to take me, and I was in probably the most pain I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
I had like an abscess or something was going, and
gross. Keep it to yourself.
yeah, but I'm just saying, whatever it was, I was in trouble, and they were like, "We need to get you somewhere," and I was like, I literally said to them, "If you don't take me there, he's gonna take me there." Like my father was like sitting right there, and my wife just always like, "Your dad is gonna take you." Like, she just breaks my balls all the time. But I wanted to go
look,
there.
it's a mockingbird.
So
Look at the mockingbird.
But it's just circling back just to finish it up. Is it okay to ask them? And if they say no, like,
yeah, it's because everybody wants to go to that primary, and don't
Right.
forget, you're not within 10 minutes. So Massachusetts Public Health has all these rules and regulations that we have to abide by, and 20 minutes is the marker. How soon can you get to that critical care access point, being whatever hospital? If it's greater than 20 minutes, you have to go to the closest facility. Okay. So up here, you're a good hour to the Mass General.
Why don't you tell him what you really said? When he said no, he said, "Do you know I know Richie Raymond?"
oh, he's always my first. He's always my first call.
Do you want me to give him a call right now?
Do you know
that won't even get you a cup of coffee.
Do you know he saved my life and he didn't know it?
Why?
A couple months ago.
What happened?
So,
okay. Are we going to go there now?
Why can't we go there now? Who cares? Let's just go there.
Go there. Go ahead.
So we went up to our friend Jeff's house, who has a beautiful home on Sebago.
Yeah.
Right, Sebago Lake. We went up there to remember our friend,
Yep.
our friend Scott. And so, I was up there, he's got a nice boat. We went out in the lake, and, Richie was out there. And listen, I grew up with a pool, right? I swim. I'm like, any more time in the water, I'd be a fish in the water. I never had a problem swimming. So we're out. They throw out the anchor. Who wants a, what do you call
floaty,
it? Who wants a floaty?
Yeah.
And everyone's taking floaties. Like, this guy's taking floaties. Right? They're taking floaties. And this one's guy's a floaty. Everyone's got a floaty, right? So everyone's got a floaty. I dive out. I don't know, maybe however many feet with the guys. And I'm swimming. I'm like, 5 minutes go by. I'm like, I'm fucking dead. I'm dying here. Like, I'm tired. I was like, holy shit. Like, I gotta
And the boat looks like it's a mile away.
The boat wasn't that close. I don't know. Richie was on the boat. I don't know how far the boat was, but for me, it was 2 miles away.
It was about 20 feet.
It was probably 20 feet, right? They're probably 20 feet away, but I felt like, so like, I start swimming. I have no energy because I'm like this in the water for like 5 minutes.
And that makes it worse, probably.
And I just thought, like, to tread water. I could tread water. Who can't tread water? So I'm dying. Like, when I tell you I had no energy, my arms were like noodles. So you probably saw me. I'm like, all of a sudden I went from swimming to like, I got on my back and I start going like this just to stay above water. I'm like, I'm not drowning here. Like,
why couldn't you call out at that point?
Because I couldn't.
He was manning up. My pride got in the way.
My pride got in the way.
I'm
like, I'm not letting anybody know I'm drowning here. So I'm like backstroke and I'm like, I'm all of a sudden the boat's right here and I see Jeff. I was like, oh, thank Christ. And he goes, no, Rick, you got to swim around. The ladder's over there. And I'm like, are you going to be kidding me? So I literally did like this backstroke with the little thing, and all of a sudden a hand comes up,
and
it's Richie. He pulls me up, and
he's in the business of saving people.
But I didn't know if you knew I was in trouble. But I'm telling you now, I was.
Did he look flustered?
Oh yeah, he looked it. Yeah.
Oh my! I didn't say a word. I would rather
stay in salt water.
And he asked for mouth to mouth, right?
Yeah.
Did he say that? Yeah.
I went on guess what? Next time I went out, I was floating like a mother effer. I got on the floaties.
But pride gets in the way. I'll tell you. Not that it's a story, but in training, where you'll see people coughing in restaurants, it's called bathroom death. They'll specifically women. They have that pride, and they don't want people to see them coughing and choking. They'll go to the bathroom, go into a stall, and that's where they choke and cough to death.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Jesus, jeez.
Yeah. So it's pride gets in the way. So never hesitate. Always ask for help.
But I'm glad you were there. Your arm was the most welcome sight I think I've ever seen.
Someone saved my life tonight.
And then, like, I go home. I was telling my wife the story. And she's like, I can't imagine if I got a phone call that you drowned like
Right,
you and your
at
buddies,
an event of someone who died.
And I'm like, I'm telling you, I was.
You and I would have been at a Ricky event a year later.
Right. Stay in salt water, you float more.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, that's what they were saying, but I didn't know. But honestly, I didn't realize A, how out of shape I was, and B, like I was falling like a rock. Like it was like I didn't realize how bad it was. But thank you, Richie. You saved my life. Another life on your.
There you go.
You know, on your.
Okay, so good conversation. I think we wanted to talk about a couple events that happened in your career that were impactful.
Sure.
Right? I think you tell me, I don't know. Well, actually, Katrina's after the Wakefield one, right?
Yeah.
So do you want to start with the Wakefield one or the Katrina? Whichever.
I'm here to help you.
What do you
Your
want?
show,
What do you want to talk about first?
I mean, I would just let's talk about Katrina.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2005, the Gulf Coast, right? The crisis. 2005, right? Katrina, Rita. I didn't go in the first deployment because my daughter was, I don't even know.
So you were going down as a paramedic?
Was it May?
Yeah.
As a paramedic.
Well, she had to be one or less because
she was months old.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
But Lily was only a year old,
Right,
so I
right.
couldn't leave my wife. My wife's like, you can't. Why? I only got blah blah. And my wife's working at the time. It was crazy. It was,
Yeah.
4 kids in 5 years is crazy.
But our country needed help from
right. That's what I was like. I have to go help.
Right.
And she's like, just wait. And then the next hurricane hit, and the providers that were down there were just exhausted. I'm like, I have to go. And she's like,
And like, how long are you there for?
a little over 2 weeks.
Wow.
But there were just people cycling. We just kept cycling every 2-3
Were they
weeks.
saving like what were they doing with everyone
yeah.
was flooded? People were up and
Like responding
drowning, or-
to
So, yeah,
people
but-
on the top of like houses and stuff like that?
Yeah, at points.
So go
but-
ahead, tell us your experience. So you drive down there. What do you see?
So the ride down, right, from Boston to Texas and Louisiana is crazy. That alone is just driving nonstop to get there.
And you with a few other paramedics?
That was
for
about 12 ambulances from Massachusetts.
Okay.
And we were all sort of deployed by FEMA. They pay for the service. We're contracted with them, and then you take off. So they contract with all these ambulance companies throughout the country for events like this. So drive down and, going into it. And this was never coordinated back then. This is the first large-scale event where FEMA actually made a footprint to figure out the future of these events, and now they're more common. But back then, there was no law and order for it, right? We just showed up and just started taking care of people.
So there was no one like in charge where you like go to a headquarters and it's like, all right,
Kind of, yeah. There was very little of that. It was so loose.
Well, it's a giant state,
Yeah,
so where do they
was-
tell you to go?
Yeah, I was
right?
the team lead. We had to report to a high school in Tyler County, Texas,
Okay.
which is on the Louisiana border area, and it was a mess. The tornado went right through it, and we got there, and there was nothing there. It was pitch black. Nobody there to help us. There was nothing. So I was like, "Where's the nearest hospital?" A little bit away. So we went up. It's all boarded up. So a sheriff rolls
So
up.
the hospital was gone?
Boarded up,
Oh,
closed
Jesus.
up. Everybody went home.
Whoa.
So sheriff rolls up, which is cool because if you ever watch Texas Ranger, right? These guys are
Chuck
like
Norris
6'2",
coming. Yeah.
and they were real Texas Rangers, but they were great. And I was like, any way we can open this hospital? We brought generators and just thinking of what we were going to get into. We sort of pre-planned for as much as we could. And the Ranger's like, I don't even know. It's a municipal building. And I'll never forget. I was like, is there a mayor? Can you put me on the phone with the mayor? So he's like, mayor's on the phone. I'm like, hey, Mr. Mayor, my name's Rich Raymond. I'm from Boston. I'm here as a FEMA task force leader. It's Madam Mayor. I'm like, oh.
Okay. Okay.
But she was great. She's like, yeah, whatever you need to do. So we're ripping boards off and we open up a hospital.
Wow.
Handful of people from Boston. We're just going to open up a hospital.
Wow.
But as soon as that happened, everybody wanted treatment, right? So they're bringing people and there's no gas.
So they find out there's a hospital open. So now that's it.
Yeah, and so we're the 911 response, right? And there's no gas. There's really no phone lines. It was crazy. We drove.
Are you getting any sleep?
No, I was just going to say we drove the whole night. We stopped at Hope, Alabama, where an ambulance company there, Jamie Pafford Ambulance, they put us up for about 6 hours. We all slept and then went back in. It was driving in. It was ominous. It was so dark. The skies were purple. it was the middle of the night by the time we got really in there. And, I was like, just be careful of snakes.
Oh,
City guys, I'm not ready for this. I'm like,
yeah.
okay, there's got to be bad animals around because we're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So, we got there. We, again, back to opening up the hospital. And that was career. It was one of the best things I ever did. That was the one thing that you're like, okay, this is why
I made a difference.
Yeah,
Big time.
yeah.
this is it, right? This is what I can live with. And
Yeah.
so for the 2-3 weeks we were there, we, now we're deep into no sleep, right? Whatever it is. And people are just coming in and we can't move them because we don't have gas. I don't even know where the hospital is because I'm from Boston. I have no idea. So we're now calling for
So
helicopters.
you're saying no gas for your trucks to get out and get back?
I pulled up to one farm on the way down. I was like, we need gas. And he's like, well, I got the red oil, whatever it is, diesel, because you can't put that in a car. So the guy's pumping it and filling up our ambulances because there's no electricity for the gas stations to be open.
Jeez.
So the guy's pumping gas into our ambulances.
Well, FEMA should try, right? Should have trucks with
They
gas.
do now.
Okay.
Right.
This is the first event really where this all sort of built from, which I'm glad I was that first event because we didn't have to do paperwork. We didn't chart. We went down and just made a difference. It was wild. But
you were like triage. You were bringing people in.
People were coming in. I'm calling for helicopters to get people to a higher level of care. Helicopters.
Jeez.
But FEMA, very little remote access, and now we're 2-3 days into it or whatever, no sleep. And I'm calling FEMA, which is Texas Public Health, and there's FEMA reps there. And I had a partner of mine, Bruce, was there, and he and I were sort of the team leads. And I'm like, we really need someone to come in here and help us. We got to get our guys to rest. I need a task force in to relieve us. Blah, 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 blah. And Bruce is in the background yelling, just send body bags.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm like, Bruce, he's like, nope, send body bags. And he's like, just tell them that. Don't let them think it's that bad. And they're going to send resources quicker. I'm like, if you could send some body bags.
Did it work?
Then they're just sort of blowing. And he's like, and don't forget the pediatric body bags. I'm like,
oh, that'll be.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So he's just doing that to get their attention.
Yeah.
So, we hang up the phone, I don't know, a couple hours go by and the doors of the hospital blow open because of this major military
Here we go.
helicopter coming down, one of those Huey. It was massive. And the two guys get off with the bars and stars. I look at Bruce, I'm like, we're going to jail.
Who said body bags? Did you say body bags? I didn't say body bags.
It was a general of the, he's like, is there a Rich here?
Oh, wow.
I'm like, how you doing, General? He's like, you boys need help? I'm like, yes, but it's not as bad as you think with body bags. I'm like, let me be straight. We're just trying to get attention.
Yeah.
You boys are good doing great things here. We're here to help. And he's like, don't worry about it. You did what you had to do to get people out. I'm like, all right.
Oh,
I thought I was going to jail.
Yeah, no, all that you guys did, it would be very difficult to put you guys in jail.
But yeah, so we treated everything. I mean, some of the burns we had to treat, rattlesnake bites we had to, who in Boston would know how to do that, right?
Yeah.
And it was crazy what we had to go through and think of and work through. And it was
good for you.
The crew that was down there with us, we pretty connected and still talk about it. It was wild. It was great.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. All right. So that's one. The other interesting one, if you're from the state of Massachusetts or in New England, Edgewater.
Yep.
Back in 2000.
Yeah, that was a miss. That was awful, right? So it was one of the worst workplace violence shootings in history in Massachusetts, New England. It was awful.
Maybe like 7 or 8
7
deaths,
people
right?
were shot to death the day after Christmas. And it was awful. Learned a lot, right? That when you think about EMS, first responders, and what you see and the baggage you take home with, that still goes home with me today. And but it's how to live with it. And for me, I understand it, but it doesn't go away. There's so many of incidents that never go away.
Can you take us to the call when you walked in?
Yeah. We day after Christmas, so call came in for, shots fired, and in that part of Wakefield, we're like, there's some marshy land in the back on Audubon. Sometimes there's people might go back there and maybe duck hunt is one of the things that I think one of the cops told us. And then I was thinking Christmas, day after Christmas, probably a single shot suicide, more controlled as we thought of the address pulling up. I'm like, it wasn't in the marshes of Audubon. It was the
Office Park.
Office Park. And that's when I'm like, what is going on? So grab our first in bag. We start running in. And as I'm running in, a police officer from Wakefield's running out. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, he's in there shooting off. And I think it was an AK-47. I'm like, not a gun guy. Don't know what that means. I'm here to take care of sick people.
Yeah.
And he's like, the bullets will go through the brick. Take cover behind my car. So I'm with the officer. And then another officer radios in. I have him in gun. I have him under
Whatever.
whatever
Yeah.
it is, right? Security.
I got him
stuff.
covered.
Covered. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we go in. I'm with the Wakefield. Scott was with us, and a couple other paramedics. And I'm walking in, and the person, Mucko, is sitting there with his hands on the rifle, smoke coming out of it, and another police officer is holding the gun on him. And then they
So
finally.
you walk into that.
Yeah.
Y'all walking in, and the person who just killed 7 people has a smoking gun.
That's right.
And you have an officer
Is he telling
covering
him, put the gun down?
Yeah.
Oh
Put
my
the
God.
gun
But
down.
he wasn't responsive. He was just.
Did you
out
know
of it.
that when you walked in? You're
No.
like, holy shit.
No. Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, my
Should have
goodness.
never been there. But back then, who knew, right? We do it a lot better now, right? Where we rescue task force, all clear.
All right,
More tactical medicine.
So you go in, and he's covered. Now you have to go in and see what's going on.
Yeah. So
inside.
we have to, a couple of the paramedics went through, and we have to go through and call everybody and say,
Dead.
dead or alive. Yeah.
Were they all in the
were
same
there-
area,
were
or
there
you had to,
people-
or you had to go search for them?
Were
No,
there
all in
people
the same
hiding
area.
under desks? Were there
Yeah.
people there? And
Yeah.
so you're trying to find out who's okay, who's not okay, who's hurt.
No, the people who were not shot,
We're already out.
gone.
Okay.
Yeah. They all
Okay.
went across the street. There was a church across the street. So that was the.
So they saw it too,
Oh,
obviously.
Yeah. So, at the point, and again, he's not talking, so we don't know what's in the building, but we do know we have the 7 victims that were not viable. And
I don't want to get too
no.
graphic.
That's why I was like,
Yeah.
I'd rather just leave it there.
Okay.
But your mind still sees it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But again, I'm a paramedic. I'm not a police officer. And they come up. Now we have tactical SWAT teams coming in, and they're like, hey, we got to look for other shooters and bombs. I'm like, ooh.
and you said they're in full guard.
Yeah, they got all their gear on.
And you got your hat.
Yeah. Got my Band-Aid and an IV. So, but I didn't even think of that, right? We're in this hut building, right? And is there a bomb? Is there another shooter? Who knows? Back then, it was just so new to us that we didn't know. So the SWAT team, there's like, all right, you got to sweep the building with us. And I'll never forget this one. I'm on the...
You're sweeping the building.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me
Yeah.
with my polyester uniform on and a bag, and I'm on the elevator with everybody in tactical...
Were you nervous? Were you scared?
Oh, yeah.
You
And I
must
looked
have
at the SWAT guys. I'm like, God, this feels like Silence of the Lamb. I'm ready for blood to come out of the elevator when I look up, and we're sweeping the building and all that. But yeah, no, it was awful.
It's a long day.
Yeah, a partner, a friend of ours, kid we grew up with. We'll keep names out of it, but he was a paramedic with us, and that event shook something in him, and it really, over the next 2 years, he struggled hard and harder every single day. He had multiple events of, almost suicide.
He had multiple attempts. I
Yeah.
remember him,
Yeah.
couldn't find him, looking for him.
Wonderful kid. I could tell you stories of how great of a paramedic he was, and he would give the shirt off his back. We would go to homes with families without much. He would go back the next day and leave a food basket at the door. This kid's heart was as big as could be. And this event triggered something over the couple of years. He ended up committing suicide. Wonderful guy. It's well missed. And
So let me ask you something then. Now that you kind of run the show, is there mental health therapy that you do? And is it
enough?
a requirement?
No.
They have to ask for it?
Yeah. There's no requirement. There's certainly not enough of it. I think we, as an industry, have to do better at that. Again, especially from a private ambulance company. If you think of that we have access to EAP and health insurance, and we send people and we try to motivate people to go, but we can't force them to go. But I think kids today are way better at asking for it.
Okay.
Which is
Rich, you know what? Like when an officer fatally shoots somebody,
Yeah.
don't they have a
Immediately.
protocol where
Yeah.
they have to go to see,
Yep.
a psychologist
Yeah.
or something. Do you guys have something
So
like that?
I can't speak for everybody, but our company, we have a couple team members, employees that are our critical incident group that will go in immediately, right? We keep managers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they'll go to those high incidents and sit with the groups or our staff and make sure they're okay. But they're only as okay as they tell us, which is
Right.
what's hard, right? We want to do as much as we can. We would have loved for, our particular friend who took his life to have had better services or done something more, but he really didn't ask. But so many people don't do that, and it's a badge of honor. Like some people, I can't tell someone I can't handle this job. It's
like Ricky not calling for help when he's drowning in
the
a
boat.
pond.
Right. Yeah, no, it is. You gotta
exactly the
ask.
same thing.
You have to ask. But it's one of those, and I think I can't speak for everyone, but we do a really good job with our staff that make sure that they go out, ask them if there's anything we can do. But I've heard stories that they go to they try to seek counseling and they don't get the right counselors because people don't know what we do.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard. But we after actions, we do these with the police and the fire, and we try to work together, but you never unsee it. You just never unsee it.
I feel like first responders, like the stuff you guys must see is.
Yeah, I don't want to. I remember a cop, local cop, telling me, some of the worst things are the highway accidents.
Oh yeah,
like because you don't know what you're going to see. He actually explained one to me. I still see it, even though I never saw it.
Yeah,
because the way he explained it to me, you can't unsee it.
I don't want to leave it with those two calls because there's so many awesome things that we do.
Yeah. No, right? Of course.
We take care of sick people that's the fulfilling part of the job.
Well, you
right?
save lives.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what I was just going to say. We put like athletes up. Like LeBron's a hero. You're like the heroes of the first responders.
Oh, you play a game you love and we give you $30 million?
And you guys are on the saving lives.
No, it's the greatest job in the world. I wouldn't.
Yeah. I guess we're just commenting on the fact that sometimes it's brutal.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
But there is 90% of the time it is awesome taking care of sick people and making that
making
difference.
them better and making them better.
10% of the calls are like those really difficult calls that you can't unsee, but 90% is great. Yeah, I would encourage anyone to.
All right, we are now going to transition to nothing but happiness, unless you want to bitch and moan about your family. But how do you balance what we just talked about? Being a husband and a dad of 4 kids. Like, do they like that you do this? Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a busy house, but we do is and. When I started at my particular company, the owner was great. He's like, manipulate your schedule so you're with your kids. And again, we're a 24-hour operation. So if I had to go out to try to go to a school event or something, it wasn't hard. But there's plenty of times where, there was something going on that I had to miss something because, work was more important, just like any of us.
Yeah.
Just so happens mine's, first responders. But no, it's being a parent of my wife works, we work, 4 kids under 5 years. It was difficult.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do it different. I would have had 20 kids if I could have.
The good news with 4 kids is you've now increased the odds of someone taking care of you when you can't talk.
That's all we look for.
Right.
That's all I look for. But I think being a first responder also helped me as a parent when I'm like coming home and chaos with tubs of this and that. I'm like, it's not as bad as what this
I've seen a lot worse.
Yeah, this is nothing, right? It's this is an easy problem to get through.
And then is it true that half of your paycheck goes to feed your dog?
Yeah, I have a 15-year-old puppy. That's 15-month puppy.
Yeah.
That's 175 pounds.
175.
Yeah.
Is it going to get any bigger, or is that it's reached its spot?
I hope he doesn't, right? So
wait, you said how many months?
15.
We all got our dogs at the same time.
Okay, so here's what someone told me. I don't know if it's true or not. The height of your dog will settle at 1 year, but it might go this way from years 1 and 2, which means yours is going to get bigger. Right?
Yeah, he's definitely he's a Saint Bernard, right? He's a male Saint Bernard. head is probably as big as two of our heads together. It's massive, but it's at the height of our counter. So he can actually put his, which we don't, but sometimes he'll come up and be like,
Just his
right
on
on,
Just rest
right
his
on
head
the, it's at that, he's so big.
Wow.
But now that he's at that, to your point, I didn't notice it till just recently. He's definitely
They go
getting
that way a little
thicker.
bit.
Yeah.
But Ricky, you know Nala. You didn't meet Nala today because my daughter took her
Yeah.
to her apartment or whatever. But if your dog was like Nala, you'd be dead. Like,
Yeah,
she just
she's happy-
jumps
she's
up.
happy to
she
see you.
can't. Like
Oh.
I would think that you have to be really careful with the Saint Bernard,
So-
making sure that it behaves,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. We put a lot of time, well, we being my wife, put a lot of time into training. She did a great job training our dog. He's really good, but for whatever, he's got a little bit of anxiety. But they're so big, he doesn't jump. There's no jumping.
He doesn't
Thank
have
God.
to. He just puts a bar
That's
up.
right.
But yeah, when he,
How did you decide Saint Bernard?
So when my wife and I first met, a friend of mine that I work with in the ambulance industry years ago breeded a Saint Bernard.
Oh, okay. And you had good experience.
Was Derby a same?
Yeah. So but we went by his house. He's like, I was working with him. He's like, oh, the litter just came out. Take a ride. Went to the house. He's like, you should take one. I'm like, no way. I got to the house. I'm like, I'll take that one.
Wow.
Yeah, big mistake. But the big dogs are fun. And then,
Well, dogs are just awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they're so. We
We were talking about Wally. I was saying
Walter.
Derby. Walter gets 8 cups of food a day, and I think I have 3 dogs. I don't think they get total 8 cups a day.
Yeah,
so what do you? I don't know what you. I mean, you have.
We're
two
we're
golden-
like so we've switched over to what is it what's the new
Oh,
thing?
you're the farmer's dog.
The farmer's dog. Well, we're doing a split.
He only pays $750
right,
a week for dog food.
we're not. There's no way this is a long-term solution. But we're doing like a little bit of that, and then back to the dry food. But when it was just the dry food, I think it was 1 cup twice a day.
Wow.
One
Right?
cup.
Twice a day.
Yeah, that's what
For
we
each
did.
dog.
That's what we did with
2
our
dogs.
lab. Our lab was
So
like that.
you know, it's 4 cups for us because we have 2 dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that. Yeah, Zeus gets a cup. I feel like he gets a cup. So 2 cups.
Yeah.
Twice a day.
Yeah, one in
I
the
was
morning.
reading something that you want to feed them just once a day and they'll be healthier. I
Really?
read that the other day, and
Let's figure that out. Do you feed yours once a day?
No.
we're
twice a day.
we're twice a day too. I mean,
Well, let's
you know,
how about this?
We'll look
If
at
you
some.
know any vets watching the show,
Yeah.
let us know.
Johnny wants to know if he can find a little more expensive food than the farmer's dog. He's trying to find some. He wants a personal
I had
chef
nothing to
to
do
come
with
in.
the initial decision. All of a sudden, it showed up at the house. Right?
No, we have another friend who uses it and they swear by it. So it's
It's got to be healthy,
yeah.
right? It's
I don't know.
I mean,
I wouldn't do that.
Again, we did one, and now we're combining it. So what?
Reese Witherspoon said, I think she never gave her dog, crunchy food, and it lived to 22 years old. No vet, no crunchy food.
Well, whatever.
She must have had like a Chihuahua, right? Like because Chihuahuas live a long time anyway, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think anything moves the needle that much, right? I just
Yeah. Okay, so did you want one more kind of story, childhood story, or
I mean, Richie and I have a lot of stories we
Right.
can get into, but I mean, it's up to Rich. How's our time going? But I mean,
we're at an hour 20
no, that's too much.
with editing.
Yeah, let's.
No, I mean, like there'll be some that'll be cut out.
I think we're gonna have Richie back on.
We're gonna have to.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have Richie back on. We'll share some more stories. And
Okay. There is one question that you were asking, and then we talked
yeah,
about it.
because that's what to me that's
Important
yeah,
for
it's important.
right.
Like as a parent, when I said like, what if like a parent to a child or a son or daughter to an elderly, like what is something that we could or should know that might help our.
Should we know CPR? Should every person know CPR?
Yeah. I think the access to know CPR today is so much easier. Sure, you can watch videos and at least get a little bit of knowledge, but your local Red Cross or anywhere, YMCA's, they all host CPR classes. So
Once
I think
you learn it, are you good for life, or you need to refresh?
it depends. There's
It
friends
changes,
and family.
doesn't
It changes a little, but reality, I mean, pump on the chest, right? So you keep the blood flowing to the major organs, the brains, the kidneys, good chance. The one thing that
So is that like the compressions?
Yeah. Yeah.
No blowing in the mouth anymore.
So
Hold on. We're going to have to take a class. You're not just going to learn.
So would you say get
I'm
certified?
good. Rich just told me in 7 seconds. I'm all set.
But so would you say get certified then? Don't or like
Yeah, I would strongly suggest, and a lot of high schools are doing it now. We definitely teach in the high schools we work with that, we're trying to get kids to graduate with a core knowledge of CPR and how to stop the bleed, right? So, but yeah, no, I think it's really important because in the world of CPR, if you don't keep the organs with oxygenated blood every minute that the heart's in that lethal rhythm, you lose 10% chance of life. Oh. So if
and like you said, you guys 9 minutes.
Yeah.
So what can happen in that 9 minutes where you or I, if we're there, maybe we start the process.
Yeah, CPR,
right?
bystander CPR is what it's called. It really
should do
makes
it.
a difference.
And then what about Heimlich?
Heimlich, it comes with your CPR class.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, super important. I mean,
and you said stop the bleeding?
Stop the bleed.
Like pressure or what else?
Stop the bleed is part of, you want to take those courses too. Especially, we try to do that in the schools too, just because today's environment.
In case you get shanked.
Yeah. I mean, just the environment it is today that, you go back to the marathon bomb and we're part of that too. That's a whole different story.
Oh, wow.
I didn't think of.
So you were there for that too?
Yeah. I was not personally. I was back in the office, but our guys, we responded and we were right at we transported some of the, the critical patients because we cover that part of Boston at BC and BU. So we had ambulances right there.
So that's like loss of life, but loss of like limbs. A lot of people like lost legs.
Yep.
So that's critical time, right?
Yeah.
Like you gotta
stop. That's where I was going. So stop the bleed. Luckily at the marathon, there's the tents there and all the paramedics,
they're trained.
EMTs. There was medical tents with nurses and doctors to hydrate. Basically there for hydration.
But they know the other stuff.
Yeah. So there were close to 300 patients and every patient made it off the scene in less than an hour.
Wow.
That was awesome.
How do they stop the bleeding so your femoral artery is severed?
Why you got to go there?
Well, I'm just but I'm just saying, like,
we were just ending on a happy note.
Don't you like you die?
No,
right?
No. I mean, it depends on stop the bleed. If you had the right tourniquet, you could hopefully stop it. I can't guarantee you will, but yeah, no, it happens. I mean, we transported one of the victims that lost a leg, and it was all tourniquet, right? So
wow.
So you saved the life.
Oh yeah,
because if that were,
I believe you saved a lot.
I did not. I was in the office.
But I'm saying as part of whether it was you on the front lines or supporting frontline people.
What I'm saying is if we were in another country and that were a bomb and you didn't have what we have here, that person might not have probably would not have lived.
Yeah, if that was in New Hampshire, that would have never.
New Hampshire. I mean, I was thinking in the Middle East somewhere.
You happen to be in a situation where there were 300 people that could help.
But not only that, where the finish line is, there's 5 or 6 level 1 trauma centers.
Right there.
But they ran. I remember I was in our op center, and I'll never forget this one too. Is late one of the city hospitals. It was either BI, one of them. I can't remember. Called out looking for amputee kits, and they're like, we don't have any amputee kits. We're out. That's how bad it was.
Oh,
so I called over to Leahy. Friend of mine was working there. I'm like, hey, one of the hospitals, if you can get me an amputee kit, I'll send an ambulance and respond it down there. So the coordination of moving stuff around because the patients outweighed the equipment at level 1 hospitals in Boston.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. That wouldn't happen today because they're all, they now prepare for that.
Again, we learn.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's good that we learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
So before we tease the next episode.
Just look who just texted me.
Oh, geez. Chris Wayland.
Oh, Wales.
We were just talking. It's crazy.
I know. It's crazy. So before we tease the next episode, any advice for if there's some young person that's thinking of getting into it? Do you have any advice?
I think it's great. I would hope that they would. I think it's a great job to get in, learn leadership. It's a great job to learn compassion. And I always say this too.
And to deal with critical situations.
Yeah. But I say it all the time. Like when you think of our jobs, we're not only providers of care, EMTs, or paramedics. Like once you're on those scenes, you become a priest, a rabbi, a school counselor, a marriage counselor. There's so many other uniforms that we wear.
Hats you have to wear.
Hats, uniforms
Yeah.
that we wear because we're in the middle of nothing, right? And there's nowhere to go. You can't pivot and be like, oh, let somebody else take care of this. We're the last line that we got to figure it out and get them to the hospital.
The other thing is that, I don't know, we can share some of your information, right? Whatever you want us to share.
Yeah, I would love to help mentor anyone if they want to do it, but it's what we're seeing too now is great is kids that want to enter the world of healthcare or EMT, nursing, PA, physicians, whatever it may be. They usually, and I encourage it, start in our world of EMS. Because patient contact is everything. You want to be a good PA, a good doc, a good nurse, start with us. And then it's a great job to go to college on too. A lot of college campuses.
And then you figure out if it really is for you.
Yeah.
Before you do all that other stuff.
Yeah. But I remember when as a paramedic, I applied and went to PA school, and going through that process, my knowledge and skill set was so much different than kids that were just coming in to be a PA. Right. So it was that knowledge that you gain.
You got a leg up.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So yeah, I would
That's
encourage
awesome.
it. So I don't know how you want it. You easily put my name.
Look in the show notes.
We have my friends Tammy and Jimmy, their son, is going. He just took the test for an EMT. He's going that route. So we'll get some information and we'll.
Wow, you can connect him directly.
We'll
great career. I love it.
All right. Well, Rich, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to tease the next episode. So, Paulie J, that was a long time. What was that? Maybe episode 7 or 8. So that was dedicated to music. We have another episode coming up that's going to be dedicated to music. And our special guest is one of the founding members of Godsmack. So you will not want to miss that. You included.
Can I sit in the background and watch?
You can
I wanna meet him.
absolutely. You can absolutely. So thank you guys for watching. Rich, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for
Ricky?
We'll see you.